Hi, Singapore. This is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You're jamming with the best in sports on 938 Live.
From 938 Live.
This is Formula One driver Fernando Alonso.
Hi Singapore, I'm Jürgen Klinsmann.
Hi, I'm Martin Tyler.
This is Annika Sorensen.
Hi Singapore, this is Johnny Wilson. You're locked on to the best in sports. Cheers.
You're listening to Singapore's longest running and only sports talk show on radio, 15 years and still going strong. A good Saturday to you and welcome to SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm Raj Kumar, and today we turn the spotlight on the local basketball scene, and there seems to be a new kid in town, and by that I mean the Pro-Am SBL or Singapore Basketball League. Now I'm sure you are already aware of the ASEAN Basketball League, otherwise known as the ABL, which our Singapore Slingers have been a part of for the last 4 seasons. We also know of the National Basketball League Series, which starts in August and finishes in November. That is organized by the governing body of the sport here, which is known as the Basketball Association of Singapore. So just who or what then is the Pro-Am SBL? Well, to tell us more about this rather interesting new concept in the Republic is the founder and owner. His name is Zoran Vasiljev, and this former player from Serbia, who's now a Singaporean, is not alone in the studio, as he's brought along 3 other players from different clubs, and they are Ng Han Bin. He's a Singapore national team player, just won the bronze medal with his fellow teammates at the SEA Games a couple of months ago in Myanmar. He also played for the Singapore Slingers in the last couple of seasons, and he's now playing for the team called Adroit, which is currently first at the top of the standings in the Pro-Am SBL. He's joined by Peter Milkovic, who's an Australian. He played in Australia, of course, and he's now playing for the team that's ranked second in the Pro-Am SBL. The club's name is the Singapore Supras. And Kelvin Chia, another Singaporean who's part of the national setup. He also played for the Singapore Under-18s. He's now playing for Siglap Basketball Club, who are now ranked 4th in the Pro-Am SBL. So, a very good Saturday, everyone. Welcome to 938 Live. And for the next few minutes, I'm going to stay with the chairman of the league first, as in Zoran. And Zoran, maybe you can first begin by telling us how the idea of a Pro-Am league came about.
Well, Raj, thank you very much for the opportunity and obviously for having us here today. Having been in Singapore for now almost 14 years, and obviously having a basketball background in my previous life, I've seen the progress of the game, and we played in couple amateur leagues and a couple of setups in Singapore before, and the idea really came that there's a need and a gap that needs to be filled in terms of a more prolonged or more competitive competition that is not just created for us at the amateur level, but it can also introduce a level of professionalism and maybe some import players. So that was really the rationale originally. It gained some great momentum over the last 5-6 months as we had the idea, and now here we are past the midpoint of the season, and it's been a great ride so far.
The season, of course, started in mid-January.
Yes,
right?
it started in January, 12th of January.
Okay, and what are the two? Would you say with the presence of the NBL, the National Basketball League, and the ASEAN Basketball League, I guess my question is, why would you still want to do a 5-month-long league? I mean, isn't that just too much of basketball for just one season?
I mean, it's a great question because if you really look at it, the game of basketball deserves different treatment we believe on that island, and being a sport that is the most popular in terms of team participation. And by no means was the idea of Pro-Am SBL to compete with any of the leagues that you just mentioned. Actually, my idea was to set up a platform, a development platform, a competition platform that just kind of goes side by side to what already the National League does and the Basketball Association of Singapore does.
Yeah.
Which is more like a tournament based over a couple of months. And then the ABL, which is an international league. So we are really still focusing on this being a Singapore domestic professionally run league, but something that lasts longer than a tournament-based play, but something that actually has a legit season where teams will play each other in a round-robin format for, as you said, 5-6 months, which is different than ever before.
And you're saying the league comprises of amateur players, ex-internationals?
Yeah, so the idea was really to try to blend the best of breed that exists in the national basketball league and the clubs that have seen value in being part of this setup, and then also to attract other teams and other clubs that are a combination of local players and import players and expats, people that are in love with the game, they know how to play the game, and they are already living in Singapore.
Is your Pro-Am League sanctioned by the BAS? And if it is, what kind of support are they giving you?
Yeah, so we did the right thing, and we obviously wanted to elevate the game and obviously the awareness of the league to the point where we went to sanction it through BAS, which also gave us the recognition of FIBA, the world governing body for basketball. So that was important for us, and because obviously that will be important as you continue to promote the league with sponsors, fans, and the wider audience. In terms of the support from BAS, we did what everybody should do. We work with them closely. We work with their officiating setup so that we get FIBA recognized officials provided by BAS, and we have also arranged to play some of the games in the BAS center.
Okay, before we hear from the players themselves, one last question for you for now. What are the two top challenges that you faced or are still facing in running this Pro-Am League?
I think we're still learning as we go through the process. This being the inaugural season, there's a lot of challenges. But first and foremost, we're still working very hard to get the spectatorship in, and obviously, our presence here in this show is part of that ambition to invite more people to get aware of the league and be behind it. And then also, the second challenge is probably more the challenge of the clubs, that for the first time I'm playing such a long season so that they can remain in shape, injury-free, and they can continue to be competitive and motivated to see this season through.
You're listening to SportsZone on 9.3 Live, and today we turn the spotlight on the local basketball scene as we chat about the very first season of the ongoing Pro-Am SBL, otherwise known as the Singapore Basketball League. We have the chairman of the league with us in Zoran Vasiliev, and he's brought along three players from three clubs, and they are Kelvin Chia, Peter Milkovic, and Ng Han Bin. So let's hear from the players themselves, starting with Han Bin, who of course, like I said earlier, represented the Republic at the Myanmar SEA Games last December. They came back with a bronze medal, which was the first medal for the men's team at the Games in more than 35 years. Han Bin, you're featuring for the Singapore Slingers for the last couple of seasons, which is a fully professional setup, and their new season starts in July. So what made you decide to play for this club, which is called Adroit, which is now leading in the SBL table standings?
Oh, hi. Adroit is actually made out of players that I actually grew up playing basketball with. So the Pro-Am League actually gave us a good opportunity to play basketball together and enjoy the sports together on a more regular basis. So I guess that's the reason why I'm playing for Adroit. So
you're saying you're playing with your childhood friends, sort of, or teenage friends?
Yeah, teenage friends.
Okay.
Call it.
Sorry, how old are you at this moment?
25. Yeah.
So, which is a pretty good age, because and so you've been playing together for 10 years, and you guys form a team, sort of.
Yeah. Most of them are also from the national team. So, but when you play for a national team, it's more intense,
right?
In terms of the pressure. So, this league actually gave us the opportunity to, in a way, be more relaxed and enjoy the game.
I think the chairman in future is probably going to restrict the number of national players in one team. 3 months into the league, how has the experience been so far?
It's been great. Because in the past there's no such league in Singapore, and where you can play against so many international players, and they are usually bigger size than us Singaporeans. So I would say it's a great exposure for us that can help us build up on our in terms of competing against those guys that are bigger than us.
Yeah. Our next guest is Peter Milkovic, and he plays for the Singapore Supras, who are second on the table standings. Peter, are you playing here professionally, or is this a part-time hobby on a Sunday while you still have a day job?
Yeah, I have got a day job. I work in public relations, so basketball is a hobby, a long-time hobby, but it's also a passion, and one that I take quite seriously, and I know my friends here in Singapore take quite seriously as well.
Okay. Are you happy with your team's performance after 14 games this season?
I think we are quite happy with what we've done so far. Unlike some of the other teams that have played together for a long time, where we've come together for the first time in this comp, so we're still kind of learning the nuances of playing together and understanding each other's games, and I think we're getting there.
What is it about the SBL that you like so far?
Really the professionalism. So when I first got here, we played in some more amateur leagues. What this has is a much higher quality. It's got imports, it's got national team players, it's got expats like me who haven't necessarily played professionally, but have played at a high level, and just the standard of the league, the way it's set up is really impressive.
When you say you played in Australia, which organisation did you play for?
So I'm from Sydney, and I represented. I played for a couple of organisations, but I played for the City of Sydney Basketball Association.
Okay. Our next guest in the studio is a former Singapore under-18 player. His name is Kelvin Chua. It's like Kelvin Chua, right?
Kelvin Chia.
Yeah, Chia, sorry. Who's with Siglap Basketball, and they are in 4th place at the moment. Kelvin, after having lost to the Bobcats, your team has gone on a 7-game winning streak. How do you account for 7 straight wins?
I guess we are a relatively young team. So in basketball, you need like communication, trust, and that's what a young team has to like cultivate. And we have to encourage the young players to believe in themselves more. So after the loss to the Bobcats, we refocus. And I think the matches in this professional league give us a very good chance to like build our trust and improve our communication. So I think that explains our 7-game winning streak.
Okay, and Siglap in their last 7 games also managed to hammer this team called Rishan Basketball by the score of 120-22. Now, how did your team manage that sort of a super high winning margin? That's almost 100 points winning margin.
I guess the players didn't like focus on the scoring play. We just stick to our playing style, run and gun, playing fast, exciting brand of basketball. And we hope that like with this style of play, we can like get better and attract more like supporters to our games.
Okay, from Kelvin, we come back to the chairman. Zoran, let's resume with you. Let's talk about some of the venues that your league is presently playing at. I understand you've chosen places like Delta Sports Hall, Yio Chu Kang Sports Hall, and Aljunied Basketball Centre. How were these locations chosen?
So, as part of the strategy of the league, it was when we thought through how to really run the league, the main idea was that besides attracting teams, we were supposed to find a way of attracting sponsors, and they will only come if the league gets a proper setup in terms of venues that can attract spectatorship. So we went to Singapore Sports Council and had a conversation, trying to see if we can get a support from their side in terms of selecting some of the venues that are appropriately built for larger spectatorship and obviously for basketball. And in those conversations, we came to an agreement that there are going to be some venues that are going to be available for this league. Our idea was obviously to rotate the game days every couple of weekends to a different location in Singapore for a very simple reason. We want to bring the game and the league to different communities so that we can promote it, that we can attract it, and obviously expose it to other people, and then at the same time see which venues work and which maybe don't.
Are you planning to expand further and play in places like Woodlands, Jurong, Clementi? Are you being subsidized by the BAS? Because this is certainly the promotion of a healthy lifestyle through sports, which is in line with our Vision 2030.
Okay, so in terms of venue selection for the future, we are still going to obviously have a conversations and do our homework and propose where else we can bring the game. Are we going to expand it to more venues or shrink it down to a set of venues that are really appropriate and bring the more people in? We will make this decision as we go along in season 2. In terms of subsidy, no, we wish we do, but no, at this moment, all the venues are actually being paid out of the budget of the league at this moment, and I understand that for the probably first season we also need to prove that this league brings value to everybody. But then I hope we will get some support as we get along.
Hanbin, you've played for the Slingers for several years. We both know that there are more expatriates attending the home matches at the Singapore Indoor Stadium as opposed to the actual Singaporeans there. Is the stadium's location in Kallang and on a Sunday afternoon tip-off at about 5 p.m. the main reason for the absence of local fans coming down to watch the Slingers?
Maybe, but I guess as much as Slingers is gaining recognition over the years, but I feel there's still a lot of people out there that are not really sure. I mean, not really, don't really know about the existence of the team. So I guess that could be the reason why there are lesser locals than expats, because not many locals know about the Slingers.
And there wasn't an MRT station called Stadium as of until last year, I think, when it was just open. Right. So yeah, with all the construction, maybe that's a big reason. Are you surprised when a Filipino club comes to town and there are 5,000 Filipino supporters and only 500 rooting for the Slingers? I know, because I've been there 101 times. You can't pull a fast one on me. So,
but that was some years back. I believe last year we actually have a 50-50 kind of
Really? Okay.
crowd, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, the Filipino crowd is really, I mean, they are really supportive of the team from the Philippines. So yeah, we need more support from the home fans.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of support, Kelvin, given the strategy of bringing this Pro-Am League to the neighborhoods and with free admission at the moment, will that be enough to entice local fans to come watch your games?
Especially in Singapore, I think free admission doesn't hurt for like local fans. I think the league has done a very good job of like publicizing this, but the thing is, more can be done. And I'll think a good suggestion would be like more roadshows in the heartlands to bring this league to
raise more awareness
to the masses, so that people have this awareness of the league that's being conducted every Sunday. And for the players themselves, I think they have to rope in their friends, their families, and by word of mouth, I think this will get out, and the league will be very successful in time to come.
Okay, just before we head to the news headlines, Zoran will let you get the final word in before the news. How much does it take to run this Pro-Am SBL, and how are you financing the first year of operations?
I think we're still working on the final figures and final budget, but I mean we are somewhere north of 150,000 Singapore dollars probably for season 1.
150,000.
Yes.
Wow.
In terms of investments, and this is done by myself and a couple individuals that have identified that this is a project and something that can be very useful in a long run. So obviously there's also support of sponsors, and we'll build on that.
So at this point in time, the 150,000 is borne by you and a few of your sponsor friends
and one other investor. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Talk about passion. All right, then it's time for the news headlines. But when we return, we'll talk much more about this Pro-Am basketball franchise, the umpiring officials, the budgets, the sponsorships. It's all happening on SportsZone right here on 938 Live.
Hey Singapore, this is former England striker Les Ferdinand. For all your football news, stay tuned to the best in sport on 938 Live.
Welcome back to part 2 of SportsZone on 938 Live. I'm the Raj Man, and I'm flying solo today, but I'm in great company as we turn the spotlight on local basketball. And we have the founder plus some of the star players in this new Pro-Am Singapore Basketball League who are in the studio today. Now, just before I reintroduce all of them, I have with me on the phone line right now Lim Chin, who's the CEO of the S League. Lim Chin, he's about to tell us about this record-breaking event which took place this morning at the Jalan Besar Stadium. So, Lim Chin, what happened earlier?
Well, Raj, good morning to everybody. And we had a great morning here at Jalan Besar this morning, where we set a new football record, which is the longest dribbling chain formed by 998 people for continuously 3 minutes of dribbling a football each.
So the record was 998 who were dribbling a ball for... each of them had a
football,
personal...
and we had to dribble in a continuous line for 3 minutes.
So that's gone down...
It was not an easy feat, but we managed to achieve it, yeah.
So that's a new record as far as Singapore is concerned, right?
Yes, this is a new record in the Singapore Book of Records, and we are very proud and thank all the participants who came down early this morning to make it possible.
Who actually came down? I mean, the 998 people...
Well, the participants come from all facets of Singapore football, from the 6 and 7-year-olds in the JCOE program, to the Prime League boys of the S League, to people from RHB, our partners in the S League. And this is in commemoration of the 10th anniversary of partnership between RHB and the S League. And we just also announced the sponsorship renewal for another 3 years with RHB. And we are so happy of the support given by our great partners RHB in the Singapore Cup.
That's great news for local football. So 13-year sponsorship by the RHB Bank for the Singapore Cup. I understand the draw was also done today as well. So how many teams and in how many groups and from which countries are competing in this year's RHB Singapore Cup?
That's correct, Raj. We also conducted the draw for this year's RHB Singapore Cup. This year we have a total of 16 teams in 2 groupings, 8 the age grouping. And the invited foreign team this year comes from Cambodia, the Philippines, as well as Laos. And these are the top teams in the region. For example, the Cambodian teams, Siam Ring, were their league champions, and Naga Corp were their cup champions. And I'm sure everyone is also familiar with Loyola Morocco Sparks, as well as Global FC from the Philippines, who incidentally were semi-finalists last year.
Okay, that's some really great teams, especially Lorolio and the team from Cambodia as well. Now, what is the prize money which they are playing for, and when does the qualifying round for the cup begin?
The prize money was increased last year to 100,000 Singapore dollars for the champion, and we commenced the RHB Singapore Cup preliminary rounds from the 25th of May all the way to the 1st of June in a couple of weeks' time. So I hope all Singaporeans and residents in Singapore will come down and support their teams and enjoy the thrilling and spills of the RHB Singapore Cup in the coming weeks.
On that note, Lim Chin, the CEO of the S-League, thank you very much for taking time off from your busy schedule to speaking to us on SportsZone today. Congratulations on the record-breaking attempt. 998 people dribbling balls for at least 3 minutes simultaneously. So congrats on that. And on RHB Bank as well for extending the sponsorship for another 3 years.
Thank you, Raj, and thank you, Singapore.
All right. Thanks, Lim Chin. Bye for now. And that was the CEO of the S-League, Lim Chin, talking about RHB Bank's continued sponsorship of the Singapore Cup, which features 16 teams in 2 groups this year. And the first round, of course, begins in a couple of weeks' time. All right, then. Let's get back to the topic at hand. And with me in the studio is Zoran Vasiliev. He's the chairman of the Pro-Am Singapore Basketball League. And joining him today are 3 players from 3 clubs, starting first with Ng Han Bin. He's a Singaporean national player. He used to play for the Singapore Slingers, and he is now playing for the top team in the Pro-Am SBL, which is known as Adroit. He's joined by Peter Milkovic, who's an Australian. He plays for the Singapore Supras, who are ranked second in the Pro-Am SBL. And Kelvin Chua, he previously played for the Singapore Under-18s. He's still part of the national setup, and he plays for the Siglap Basketball Club, who are presently ranked 4th in the Pro-Am SBL. Now, in the first part of the show, we heard about how this new league was set up, the challenges they are facing, how the clubs are faring. So continuing with the element of dollars and cents, which was what we were talking about just before the news headlines. Zoran, I'm surprised that for a league with not much regular publicity in the media, you've managed to secure sponsors like Leaning, Spalding, World of Sports, and even the budget carrier Scoot. Zoran, you've already said that it takes about almost $150,000 to run this 6-month-long league. So what or how are these sponsors helping your cause?
I think once you have a product that is attractive enough, not just for the clubs but also for the wider audiences, it was then just really a determination of and some hard work and obviously cold calling to go around and present what we actually trying to build here. And it was really fortunate that the brands that you have just mentioned, and they are not all, there's obviously more, that have recognized not just the passion but also the organization capability that we bring in terms of promoting the game. So in different ways these sponsors are really participating, from Leaning, who has graciously sponsored all the uniforms for the teams, basically over 400 sets, home and away uniforms, also equipping all the referees and table officials, to Spalding and World of Sports that are providing the official ball, not just for the official game days but also to the teams. We also have a program with Spalding which we call the Team Assist, which means that if we recognize some school kids in the stands wearing the school uniforms that are coming to support the games, we will give them the game ball as a gift to take away and take it back to the school and the community. So there are these companies are coming from different ways really to support the league, and the World of Sports is promoting it through their shops.
How is Scoot involved?
Yeah, Scoot was a great experience. The guys really, I must be honest. One meeting and they recognized everything that I just explained, and they said they are willing to support us in tickets. So we are really receiving a number of tickets that will help us. Number one, give us awards and prizes at the end of the season or individual performances, and at the same time there's going to be a number of tickets that we can still use to raise some funding as we get along. So in different ways, there are drinks, hydration drink sponsors, Quencher, that has been also part of the story, which is giving and providing hydration throughout the 6 months of the competition. Every Sunday the guys are there. So I think so far it's been a good effort for that initial set of sponsors, which I also like to call them actually the founding the founding partners of the league, because none of them have ever worked with any of us before. So I think credit needs to be given to them also.
Yeah, this word founding is now becoming a popular word, because earlier this week, Great Eastern became the founding partner with the Singapore Sports Hub.
If you have their numbers, please let me call them up.
But I am very impressed with this particular setup, because for a league that's only 3 months in existence, it's a semi-professional league, and you already have lined up several sponsors. And Scoot, the reason I brought them up is because Air Asia is the title sponsor for the ASEAN Basketball League. So I was interested to see, and that's for an appropriate reason, because the clubs are from the ASEAN region. So if the fans and the teams want to travel, they can fly in Air Asia. And so I was curious to find out how Scoot is involved, especially with this being a local league. Having said that, how else are you looking to entice even more sponsors to come in with financial investments into the Pro-Am SBL?
I mean, that's a great question. I think we're all reasonable, and obviously our business experience brings us some reasoning way how to build this forward. Now, 6 months or 3-4 months into the league, and as soon as we finish the league, we will have a product that we can actually be very proud of, and now go back and restart conversations with existing partners and sponsors, but at the same time start some new conversations with companies that were either sitting out this season and looking what's going to happen, or even go and approach some new ones. And I think once they see the numbers in terms of participation, in terms of their 280 registered players, 81 foreign players, 26 nationalities are playing in this league. I mean, there's a story behind it, which is more than just shooting hoops. And I think that's something that is attractive. We have managed to bring fans into the arenas on a good weekend when top teams are playing. There's 250 people that end up watching these games, and this is way more than any other basketball league in Singapore of this sort has ever seen. So there is something that could be provided to these sponsors, especially since we are in one real estate for 7-8 hours consecutively with six games in a row, which means there's a captive audience, there's a captive location that everybody can utilize, and I think we will be more successful in having these conversations moving forward.
That's right. For the listeners, you can take note that tomorrow, what he just mentioned was they play 6 games starting from I think at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Sunday. It goes all the way to 7. So there's 6 games all happening one after the other. So it's free admission. So you can imagine, if you're a basketball fan, what you can do on a Sunday afternoon and evening. Now, Peter Milkovich, talking about fans, you've played in Australia. Do the leagues over there face a similar problem in terms of low fan attendance as in the game of basketball, or is the game of basketball widely supported over there?
Yeah, I think it's about putting it into context a little bit. In Australia, basketball is one of the highest participation sports at a junior level. So at the very local level, the games aren't necessarily attended by more than family and friends. But at the representative level, there's kind of junior teams and then a senior team. So the games are attended essentially by all the junior players who come and support the senior team. I think with the SBL, what they've done really well so far is to try and get the junior level community involved as well, as Zora mentioned, the school assist program and that kind of thing. But here I think the attendance has been not that low, especially when you play against teams that have good awareness in the community, like Adroit, like Siglap, that are well supported, and they're the games we love to play. So, yeah.
Actually, when I was referring to the games that are low attendance, I'm referring to the Slingers, who are actually an established brand, and they've been around for at least 7 or 8 seasons, if you go even before the ABL was started. But now coming back to the SBL, it's a brand new semi-professional league, and the prize money is reasonable for now. But what else is driving you to turn up every Sunday and play?
I think it's a chance to test your skills against a very high standard of players across the board. And as Zora mentioned, players from different nationalities, different backgrounds, different levels of experience. And ultimately what basketball is about is having fun, playing with a group that you enjoy playing with. And that's really what it's about for us, I think. Okay.
Ng Han Bin, what can the Singapore Basketball League learn from the Slingers and the ASEAN Basketball League?
Actually, I can't think of any, but I have to say Zoran has done a great job maintaining the league and running the league, actually. So in that aspect, I can't really think of any for that.
Marketing, perhaps? I mean, possibly, like your...
That depends on the sponsors that come in that can help us advertise on the league,
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you personally, are you getting any allowance for coming to play every Sunday?
Not at all. It's just about the fun with my, you can say, brothers. Yeah.
And the passion for the game.
That's right.
Okay. Kelvin, do you bring your own family and do you tell your friends to come watch you play? Because usually, I guess it starts with them. I mean, coming to support, and then when word gets around, more and more people who are curious might come down and watch on Sundays.
Yeah, my dad is like the biggest supporter for me when I play, and cause he's working overseas now. But when he's around in town, he will come and like watch me play. And my family members, my friends, they've always been asking me like when the games are, and I've seen them like turn up to support. So I guess with like word of mouth, with publicity like this, we can expect like more people to turn up, more fans, and I believe my friends will like spread the word as well.
So is your dad a basketball fan from the word go, or is he just coming down because you're playing?
He does play basketball like in the past at the amateur level, but since I started playing in primary school, he has always been there for me, watching my games. So I guess it's like my biggest supporter.
Good, that's great news to hear. But from your own words, what would you tell them? I mean, to come watch you play. I mean, for example, myself. I mean, I'm your friend, and I need you to convince me to come watch you play on a Sunday afternoon at either at Delta or Alginate. What would you tell me?
All right, let me give it a try.
Yeah.
Hey Raj, are you free this Sunday?
Depending on what you're asking, you know.
Oh, but are you a basketball fan? Do you like to watch like exciting?
Yeah, a little bit here and there. Yeah.
And do you want to have a chance to win a basketball home?
Win a what?
Win a basketball home.
Win
the
a
game ball.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you should turn up in like your like primary school or secondary school uniform, and maybe like if you are spotted in the stands, you'll get a chance to win a basketball.
You want me to turn up in my primary school?
Yeah, because the Liverpool uniform is not gonna get you anywhere.
The Liverpool jersey is not gonna get me anywhere. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if I don't have a primary school or secondary school uniform, but as an adult, what?
I'll just like I'll tell you to like come with your friends, enjoy a game of basketball. You don't have to stay for all 6 games. You can just turn up. If you're excited, you're interested in the game, you can stay for the other games as well. And that's a very high standard of basketball you'll be seeing in Singapore.
Yeah, especially with names like the LJE Bobcats, the Engtat Hornets, you know, the Serangoon Slammers. We will talk about the names later. So, but I'm convinced I'll be there tomorrow.
I'll see you there.
Before we go to the traffic watch, Peter, let's talk about the coaches of the various clubs. 12 clubs handed by 12 men. Are the coaches up to par or standard, or do you feel some of the clubs are being let down by inexperienced coaches?
No, I don't think they're being let down at all. I think there's obviously different levels of talent across the teams, and the coaches will do their best with what they've got at their disposal. I also think what's good about this is that there are some teams with player coaches, so they kind of get a feel for the game in the moment as opposed to just from the sideline. So I think the level of coaching, from what I've seen, is actually quite strong and will probably continue to grow.
How do you feel playing alongside some professionals and the locals who've only played this at an amateur level?
I love it. It's not really anything new. I've always kind of played alongside both professional and semi-professional and also amateur level athletes. I think the professionals add a level of credibility to the league, and they also bring kind of key learnings from their experiences to you, and that you can kind of put into practice into your own games as well.
On that note, it's time for Traffic Watch, and when we come back, we'll talk about merchandising, possible new names for a few clubs, the refereeing standards, and there's also a club called Rishan Basketball, which has been setting all kinds of records in the league. We'll tell you more right after Traffic Watch.
Hi, I'm David O'Leary, former Arsenal defender. For all you sports news, stay tuned to SportsZone on 938 Live.
You're listening to SportsZone on 938 Live, and today we turn the spotlight on the local basketball scene as we chat about the very first season of the ongoing Pro-Am SBL, or Singapore Basketball League. We have the chairman of the league with us in Zoran Vasiliev. He's brought along 3 players from 3 different clubs. They are Kelvin Chua, Peter Milkovich, and Ng Han Bin. Okay, Zoran, let's talk about the names of some of the clubs, and if you honestly want fans to come and support these amateur clubs, honestly, I think they need to feel associated with the club. And that is why the fans in the United States, Europe, the UK and other parts of the world have a strong sense of belonging to their own state team or neighborhood club. So, for example, in the S League, my favorite club is Woodlands Wellington, simply because I live in Woodlands. So, in terms of your Pro-Am League, I would probably have to lean towards rooting for the Marsiling Sonics. Just like the residents in Yishun should support the Yishun Ballers. So there are other clubs with names of our neighborhoods like Siglap Basketball, the Serangoon Slammers. So that's only 4. The other 8 clubs have names like MDIS, Sinki, or the Singapore Supras, or even Engtat. Sorry, but if you honestly want to get the younger generation of Singapore basketball fans down to your Sunday games, you probably have to change some of the names, like SMT Basketball. Just who are they representing? So before I hear from the chairman of the league on the potential name changes, Hanbin, what do you think? Would your friends prefer to come and watch the Bishan Bears versus the Jurong Jackals, or would they prefer to come to watch MDIS Basketball versus SMT Basketball? Honestly, Hanbin.
I have to agree with you, maybe, on that point.
No, really, I mean, because we're talking about trying to take this league slowly to the next level, and you want more people to come, so you go and tell them MDIS Basketball versus SMT Basketball. No disrespect to the sponsors, but maybe it's time that they look at how to maybe brand the teams along with neighborhoods.
But it all depends, because I don't think, like myself, I won't really support Hougang soccer or anything. I think if the support, I mean, if we were to change the name, you would probably attract the aunties and uncles, maybe.
That's a start. The aunties and uncles would then bring their nephews, their grandsons, whatever. So, in a way, but never mind, I won't put you on the spot. Peter, should the league consider changing the names of a few clubs to better reflect the modern day support and merchandising needs of the fans?
I think it's something that they're probably considering, and they're open to discussing it. It is important to, I think, keep in mind it's the first season of the league, and a number of the teams have been founded in very kind of non-traditional ways. I think our team largely is an expat team, so for us, when we named ourselves, we wanted to kind of put the name Singapore in there because we haven't necessarily got an affinity to any particular area of Singapore. We just kind of have come together. Singapore represents an exciting time in our lives, and that's why we've done it that way. But I think down the track, there's definitely potential to consider that.
Okay, let's hear from the chairman himself. Zoran, what do you think? Still Sinki Basketball versus Rishan? Or could it be the Sengkang Stallions versus the Clementi Cages? But whatever it is, I hope you avoid repeating the same names and the mascots of the S League or even the Netball Super League.
Okay, I think it's a good argument and a great discussion. First, let me just say that as the league organizers and league owners, I don't think that we are entitled or in a business of changing clubs' names. I don't think that we should really influence this. Now, why are some of the names and some of the clubs in Singapore the way they are? Because most of the clubs in Singapore have been actually sponsored by individuals or by entrepreneurs. They had no real association with community. Just that was the standard. That's the way it is in Singapore. So in order to support what you're saying in terms of the sense of belonging, it will be better as this progresses and as the game gets more recognition on this island, that we start to get associations with neighborhoods or with wider communities, so that effect becomes what you were just saying, so that we do have something that resembles what you would see either in Europe or in US or even at the college level and so forth. But I think for that you need time, and for that you need obviously some track record and so forth. For right now, the way this is supported, that's how you get the names for.
By the way, how long are your matches, and why do you play all 6 of them at one venue on Sundays? Yeah,
so the matches are regular FIBA standard matches. Each match is an hour and a half, and we play them at the same venue for a very simple reason. It's economies of scale. You get the venue booked. That's the way we can get it in. At the same time, we get all 5 or 6 matches, which means all 12 teams are there. We are in one real estate, which gives value for the sponsors, and at the same time, it allows the fans to see multiple matches at the same time in one day.
All right, very quickly, Peter, let's get a quick word on the umpires. Have they lived up to your expectations, or do you think more can be done?
They've been great. I think it's the highest standard refereeing that I've seen in Singapore so far. Obviously, every player's got a tortured relationship with the referees, but they've done well to control the games and have been of a very high standard, I think.
Okay, Kelvin Chua, as we wrap up the show, where do you hope to see your team, Siglap Basketball, finish at the end of the season?
Obviously, we want to win it all, but now we're taking it a step at a time, make the playoffs, and everything is open once we reach the playoffs.
What's next for you after the Pro-Am SBL?
The National Basketball League, where Siglap will be taking part as the defending champions. We hope to defend our title this year.
Wow, okay. Hanbin, is the championship title within your grasp, or does Adroit Basketball have plenty more to do in the next few weeks?
I guess everyone stands a chance if you make the semi, so I guess Adroit has plenty to do so that we can get a championship.
Okay. Are you returning back to the Slingers in July when the season starts?
That's still a question mark right now.
Still a question mark. Okay, I'll have a word with them. Peter, the Singapore Supras, is the target to reach the finals, or can you topple the league leaders in the next few rounds?
We're confident that we can, especially as we come together as a team and become a more cohesive unit. So yeah, we're confident we can go all the way.
Okay. And finally, Zoran, here's one last chance to send a message to all of your SportsZone, to all of our SportsZone fans. Tell them to come and support the Pro-Am SBL on Sundays. Where can they find the details of the games?
Yeah, so we have two online setups. Obviously, the league's official website on www.sbl.sg, and also on the Facebook Pro-Am SBL. You will find all the details. So, yes, please come support the boys. See the development and the progress of the league so far, and if you want to get involved in any shape and form with us, we'll look forward to seeing you there.
That's right. And tomorrow there are 6 games starting from 2 o'clock onwards at Delta Sports Hall.
Tomorrow. So we are the entire round is being played at Delta Sports Hall starting at 2 p.m. And we'll have some great games, actually great matchups with Sinki playing Singapore Supras to start today. Then we have the local national division teams, the SMT, facing the Eintracht Hornets, all in a run for the playoffs. Adroit Siglap, which is the biggest derby, and I think this is gonna be a full house tomorrow.
All right, then. On that note, a big thank you to our studio guests in Zoran Vasilyev, Kelvin Chua, and Peter Melkovich, and of course Ng Han Bin. Go support the Pro-Am SBL. We're out of time. Till the next time, I'm the Rajman. This has been SportsZone on 938 Live.